What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from TheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I'm going to science well, uh, this Project Hail Mary, which currently is in theaters and stars Ryan Gosling. And Ryan Gosling, and, and also, I guess, Sandra Hüller's in here, but Ryan Gosling he's in a lot of this movie. So to say anybody else is at the same level as him is just one of those films, right? Where somebody has far more screen time than anything else or anyone else in the movie. It's directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the guys that brought us 21 and 22 Jump Street, the Lego movie. They almost brought us Solo, a Star Wars story. They've also shepherded the Spider-Verse movies. Kind of makes you wonder, like, considering how Solo, a Star Wars story turned out for Disney, did they really need to eject Phil Lord and Chris Miller from the film? Was it really that bad? Because it seems like everything else they're touching turns to gold. But yeah, Lord and Miller are here with Amazon MGM's biggest hit slash adaptation so far. And the follow-up for Andy Weir to his last major motion picture adaptation, which was The Martian, starring Matt Damon, directed by Ridley Scott, which went on, of course, to get a Best Picture nomination, and did also financially well for itself at the box office. Here, this movie is already exploding at the box office because it opened in sort of a vacuum. So there was nothing really around. Plus, there was so much hype going into this. I was offered 2 screenings for this that I didn't have the opportunity to go to because they were like, yeah, critics are going to love this. So let's just make sure everyone sees it. So our Rotten Tomato score is just through the roof, which it is. Am I going to be changing that? No. If anything, I'm just going to be reinforcing it. Uh, it's a great movie. Daniel Pemberton did the score here. Drew Goddard does an adaptation of the book Project Hail Mary, which I listened to a little bit of the audiobook. I prefer audiobooks, especially at this stage of my life where I'm blind, because if I'm reading it, then the text on it can just be like a droned voice, like my screen reader voice. So sometimes the audiobook is just better, but I didn't actually finish the audiobook. I just listened to the first part of it. And the film is interesting. It's a fun adaptation, has a lot going for it. And I want to try to stay mostly spoiler free, even though it's been out for like a week. So the audio description here is done by Deluxe. It's narrated by William Michael Redman. And it's, it's an extraordinary audio description track in terms of what it's available and what it does. Because there's a lot of science fiction in here, right? There's a lot of like going through space, a lot of things it has to describe. At this point, I'm not considering Rocky to be a spoiler because he's such a huge part of the movie that that everybody's been talking about, and I'm one of the later reviews, so I don't think Rocky is a spoiler. But Rocky would be a great example of a character that needs a lot of audio description to sort of help support the choices that are being made through this. So basically, Ryan Gosling plays a high school science teacher who discovers something called astrophage and how it's affecting our universe, and he wrote like a paper on it. And well, it turns out this astrophage it's like a parasite virus fungus thing that is, you can tell science is not my thing. It's his thing. It's not my thing. So it's like feeding off of the sun, and as it continues to feed off of the sun, eventually it will cause like, you know, catastrophic things to happen to the planets in our solar system and life on Earth as we know it to die off. Um, so they're trying to figure out how to what's the solution. And obviously they've been working in this on increasing space travel so that we might be able to send some people off if they found that. But it turns out the astrophage is everywhere. It's affecting solar systems all over. And yet they found one solar system where the astrophage is not affecting it. So in this whole process, they take Gosling's scientist out of the classroom and over to the project and have him science the shit out of it. And I love that quote from The Martian. And figure out like what they need to be doing. Sandra Hüller has an interesting sort of karaoke moment that is lovely. She sings like a Harry Styles song. And all of this is told out of sequence. So you get this stuff in flashbacks. I'm sort of resequencing it for purposes of telling you what the story is. What you actually see is he wakes up at the very beginning in like basically in like cryo. He's like in a body bag in cryo. And he wakes up and unzips himself. And he has no idea who he is or where he is. Nothing. He remembers nothing. There's an AI shouting at him, 2 + 2 = what? 2 + 2 =. And he is completely disoriented. I was actually surprised at how well, if we're talking about like the little things, like what were the little things? There had to be little things that you didn't like. I was like, he kind of, for somebody who theoretically hadn't been walking for a while, he kind of gets his shit together pretty quickly. So I don't know, maybe that was the one thing where I was like, it would have been fun to see him like having to worm around on the floor, like he can't stand, he's just like rolling around. It's like, oh. And there's no one around to help him either. Like his legs are like jelly or something. So but we got to make Ryan Gosling also look hot and attractive, and seeing him do the DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street, I think probably would have turned some people off. So yeah, eventually he gets his stuff together and he starts sciencing. Anyway, you know what that quote is. Don't look at me like that. And figures out sort of where he is and is shocked to find out where he is, that he's in space. And it's kind of cool the way that the ship works. It's able to create sort of like images and stuff to kind of make it look like, you know, so he's not just like staring straight out of space. There's a sort of like a virtual reality thing that comes along with this. I don't know how else to say that. He's also lost his other crew members, but he doesn't remember them. So he's having a hard time. He's like staring at photos and trying to decipher whether or not these people were his friends or not. Or like, how did he know them? So that's sort of an interesting moment as memories are coming back to him, like piecemeal, you know, and the idea that he has to have these sort of like funeral moments with them. It's very somber, and it comes sort of towards the beginning of the film. But yeah, he's all alone on the ship. He has to figure out what it is that he's doing there. Where is he going? Who is he? All this kind of stuff. And that's sort of like the first chunk of the movie, with some flashbacks happening. One of the things that helps him is he has this little beanbag. And I love how that was his like tether to his reality, is that he remembered this beanbag and it helped him sort of start bringing his memories back. So there's sort of he's going to another solar system, and he's gonna run into another spaceship that from another planet that has sent their own person off. They're doing their own Hail Mary. our ship is called the Hail Mary because, well, it is a Hail Mary. I don't know. I don't remember why there are only this many people on the ship. I don't know. You feel like that this should be like a Star Trek thing where there's like 100 people on a crew of a ship or something like that going off, and the hopes and dreams for humanity shouldn't have just lied in like 3 people in an AI, but I guess it does. But then this, you see the same thing on the other ship, which is piloted by the alien creature that Gosling encounters, that he's not 100% sure what to do with at first. And then it turns out that the alien is friendly, but takes a while to figure that out because they don't speak the same language. I like the fact that in the design here that they went with, first of all, it's practical. It's there's a puppet there that they're actually using. It's a mix of like puppet animatronics, whatever. It's not a fully CG. Gosling wasn't acting opposite like a tennis ball on a stick. So there was actually something present for him, which I think allowed him to emote more, which makes him give a really damn good performance here. He's fantastic in this. And so Rocky ends up being this alien, and they befriend each other after they're able to figure out how to speak to each other. And Gosling sciences the, I'm going to keep using that phrase, and figures out a way how to give like a translator thing but for the two of them so they can understand each other. They also do this thing with like thumbs up, thumbs down, but trying to figure out a voice for him. I thought it was cute. Meryl Streep was one of the voice options. I can do anything, you know, like, but God, I hope The Devil Wears Prada 2 is great. I do. I really do. But it's one of my favorite roles of hers. Anyway, that's a sidetrack. I stepped on the side. I'm sorry. So yeah, so then the two of them are going to work together to try to save both of their planets and possibly the universe. The galaxy rests in the hands of these two strangers, not on a train, but in spaceships. So, and yeah, there's a little bit more action too, because they're going to have to go down to a planet and collect samples, and obviously these terrains are not so hospitable whatever, to things, and it makes it a little bit harder. The connection between Gosling's character and Rocky is, I forgot it's Grace, but I don't want to keep saying Grace because I forgot his first name. The audio description refers to him so many times as Grace that I was gaslit into not remembering what his first name was. So he ends up having this bond with this relationship. Sounds weird. They're not dating. With Rocky, that is sort of the core emotional understanding of the thing, and he's not like a traditional alien with like those big eyes. There's a quote from Steven Spielberg after he successfully landed it with E.T., and they're like, what makes a good alien movie? He's like, well, it's all in the eyes, that's why E.T. has such big eyes, is so that we can stare into his soul. And I think what's interesting about that is I don't think Ridley Scott's alien has eyes. I think it's just like teeth and then just the head. We never really focus on the eyes. I don't think anybody ever stares in his eyes. So I think Rocky definitely pushes back on the idea that you need to be able to stare into the eyes of an alien creature in order to like it. It doesn't have to look to resemble a human. in order for us to be able to connect to it on an emotional level. It's a great fucking movie. It's pull quote. Um, yeah, I mean, it's everything. It's entertaining. It's the kind of movie that you would get over the summer, but I love the fact that it's opening outside of the summer so that it can feel even more special. So that it's not just like one of the summer movies. It's opening this, it feels like it's trying to elevate itself by tent poling the entire spring around it, and making it so that Project Hail Mary becomes the first big hit of 2026, the first unqualified absolute knockout, because it is. It's a terrific movie. This was the film everybody was looking forward to. They were like, okay, if Project Hail Mary doesn't work, then we're screwed, and it did. And thinking forward to the Oscars, because people have already started talking about it. Yeah, I think this has Oscar potential in it. Last year we ended up with a whole bunch of Oscar movies, and we're talking about them and beating around the bush towards the end of last season with all these Oscar baiting movies. And the ones that started rising to the top were two summer movies that came out that got both really close. Weapons did get a PGA nomination. F1 went on to get a Best Picture nomination. So films that play to the masses when they're really good, it does seem like that we are a little bit more accepting to the excellent quality. And this could also, Sinners was an April release, so that was a film that did well at the box office. This could very well take that place and be one of the 10. Like, this could easily be one of the 10, hands down. It's weird to say that already, because I haven't done my like stupid early Oscar prediction video yet, and I've already got a film where I'm like, yeah, this is a Best Picture nominee. Could Ryan Gosling get an actor? I think he'll be in the mix. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he does get in. Matt Damon was in the mix for The Martian, but he wasn't necessarily leading the pack for that. I remember the great debate when it got to the Golden Globes about what was it? Was it a drama or was it a comedy? And then for some reason, The Martian was in comedy, and they thought that was like weird. Like what a weird genre choice for it. But it'll be interesting to see where they put Project Hail Mary. So I don't think Sandra Hüller would come along with this. She's the next biggest like face actor in this. I don't think the film can carry her to a supporting actress nomination. Maybe. She has sort of been in and around recent things. We did get her fairly recently in Anatomy of Fall and Zone of Interest. This is a big movie. Project Hail Mary, I don't know if the rest of the year sucked. And sure, I guess. Um, I think Drew Goddard could easily get his Oscar nomination in here for adapted screenplay. I don't think Phil Lord and Chris Miller can get directing, but I hope they produce so that they would get nominations that way. Um, Cinematography, editing, production design. It's not gonna get costume design. I don't know why it would get hair and makeup, unless it's just a really weak year. It really isn't. There's not enough there to justify it. Visual effects would be there. Score, Daniel Pemberton's score is probably going to be in the mix. Sound design. So it has plenty of stuff going for it, where Project Hail Mary could be a serious contender this year, sight unseen, without having, any other context in terms of what else is coming down the pike. So, this movie is excellent. I think it's easily going to be one of the best movies of the year. This is going to be a hard thing to top, because now I'm like, well, I've seen Project Hail Mary. What's your favorite film of the year? I don't know, Project Hail Mary. Like, I feel like I'm just going to be saying that for a while because it's true. I love this movie. I love The Martian. And we need to keep going to Andy Weir and being like, please, sir, with our tears in our eyes, please, can you keep saving cinema, please? Can we have more excellent movies from you? And also, we need to trust in Lord and Miller a little bit more, and let them do their thing. If they want to do a Star Wars movie, Disney just needs to let them do it. Just submit. If this has proven the fact that they could competently make a Star Wars movie. I mean, this is a great science fiction movie. It is a little long. It's like 2.5 hours of your life. But, I mean, when you're adapting a book too that a lot of people did read, you don't want to just cut the entire thing out of the book. There is a big epic journey here, an adventure. It does justify the runtime. It doesn't feel like it's like, oh my God, why am I still here? Like, I didn't feel that. I felt like 2.5 hours was fine for this movie. It doesn't work for every movie, but um, there's nothing here that I really disliked. So I'm gonna be basic. I'm gonna be a basic ass bitch, and I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10, which is already setting the bar stupid high for the rest of the year because I gave like my top like 3 films were like 9 and above last year. So Project Hail Mary is already like up there. I'm basically saying that if Project Hail Mary had released in 2025, it had a shot at being my #1 film, if not my 2 or 3. And this isn't even the first film that I've said that about this year because I got the BAFTA holdovers that we didn't get here have already also opened in early spring. So for spring, it's actually been kind of great if you have access to films like I Swear and Mr. Burton, which were nominated at the BAFTAs for Best Picture, then you've had a wonderful time. If all you've been watching is like The Bride and Scream 7, and I'm sorry, but if this is it, there have been some really excellent films at the beginning of the year, thanks to, again, BAFTA Overflow and now Project Hail Mary. So, yeah, I fully endorse this, and the audio description is excellent, and I'll remember this track at the end of the year. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.